Welcome to Real Talk with Glen and Mike, the show that gives you real, raw, and unfiltered conversations with your favorite African thought leaders and trendsetters.
Mhoroi, Mhoroi, Mhoroi. Waking up and get the money, man.
Because my life is not my own, somebody can get something from that. By me sharing, someone can relate to that and be like in my inbox, hey, you know what? I'm actually also feeling like this. And it helps somebody because naturally I also enjoy helping people. But it goes to a certain extent. You know, it goes to a certain extent and then I know my boundaries. I'm like, okay, phelela la.
So what do you
I'll give you this little bit, but not the whole of me.
So
because also
what do you share and what do you not share is the question.
What do I share? What do I not share?
Mm-hmm.
I'll share mostly about my work, my experiences, my struggles, my challenges. But I felt it because it makes you feel naked when you actually share stuff about your intimate self. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will post a picture of myself on Instagram and have a moment where I'm like,
Delete.
it feels weird. I'm like, is that okay? Like, should I delete it? Should I remove it? What if it's too much? What if it's,
Mm-hmm.
And then again, finding that courage to say, you know what, hate it, take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing me. That's what matters.
Two backstories. Sorry, you can go.
Yeah.
Two
And
backstories
I'm not doing for anybody else but me.
I'm so sorry I interjected there. But two backstories for Mike before I ask you the next question. And this is, and just trying to, bring out some of the conversations we had before the interview, because I think it's very important, especially for other people that want to get into what you are in. So the first time I reached out to Mbo, the first thing she said, hey, I don't know if this will help, but if it will help another person, I'm willing to do anything to do that. I'm willing to help the next person. So when you say that sometimes you share because you feel like it's going to help someone out, I feel like this is something you legitimately feel strongly about, which is giving back. It might be in giving your story. However, you also then say, Glen, I feel like I'm not even quite sure about doing these interviews because I feel like each time I do that, I lose a part of me. Like it's draining, but I feel like if it's something that I have to do to help people, then maybe I will. And this is where you then began telling me the difference between Mbo Mahocs and Mbonisi. Now, I understand you. Now, when I look at you in this interview, it's different from when we were talking, debriefing. I literally see thought lines here on your face when you're speaking and all. And I think it takes a lot for you to measure yourself like that, to really think through everything you're saying right now. And I understand why you've used a very powerful imagery when you say you feel naked, because you're giving too much, you're giving yourself, you're letting people into your thoughts, into your mind, into your fears, into your hopes.
It's a lot.
Let me take you away from that. Give us the highs. What have been the highs of this? I want that more energy now. Tell me the most amazing things that have happened to you in this journey.
Man, I wake up every day and I'm like, Lord, thank you. Like there's times where I sit back and I think, wait a minute. This is what you asked for. This is what you've been praying for, And I always say to my partner, who is very, very supportive, man, I have days, weeks, months where I'm not working, but not even one day will he discourage me and say, you're not going to get another gig, or I'm so blessed in that regard. And I always say to him, when I prayed about the person that I wanted to be with in my life, I was very specific, and God gave me that. And I said, Lord, if he knows you, I know the rest will fall into place. That was my prayer. Very simple. That was my prayer. And I have moments where I'm like, wow, I'm blessed. How many people get to live their dream? It's not even material things or driving the car that you want or anything, but it's like being in that space where as a little girl, you dreamt of yourself being on TV and you're actually on TV now. That's a big deal. It's like at that time it was a prophecy that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And now to see it come to life, come to pass, it's like, wow. Like I have those moments where I'm like, stop. And I'm so, so, so grateful. And also there's this lovely quote that I love that says, from a grateful heart comes blessing. So I'm always in that zone, in that space where I'm like, hey, 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 you know? And always it's about keeping that energy and vibrating towards good things and light and positivity and dreaming things possible, that nothing is impossible. I'm such an affirmative person. When I wake up in the morning, it's going to be a beautiful day. When I open my eyes and I see the light or the sun, I'm like, I'm up, I'm alive. Little things. That's where like my energy is always at. I do have days where I'm sad and I'm like really broken and I don't want to be me anymore and I want to give up, but I get over it so quickly. I play music and it's gone. But yeah, what was your question?
What are the highs? Take me through some of the moments behind you there in the newspaper clippings. What have been the highs, the highlights of your career so far?
The highlights, obviously it has to be scandal. I remember I grew up watching Motswako. There's a women's show that is called Motswako. I remember growing up watching that show with my mom, and one of these past days I happened to be on the show as a guest. And for me, it's little things like that, like I said, that I dreamed of when I was a young girl, and now you start to see it happen. And also, it doesn't just come. You work towards things like that. It's not like manna that's just hitting us from heaven. And that has made me want to have a talk show. So it's also like pushing me to another place that I want to be in, you know. You did talk about that when we started this conversation. And somehow I thought, hey, maybe I could do this, you know. So I'm pushing my energy towards that, and I want it. I almost want to look back at these articles to like see what else.
This is me.
You know? But I still want to do stuff, man. I want to do movies. I want to do documentaries. I want to tell people stories. I want to do a movie about Zim, you know, with what's happening now, like hashtag Zim Lives Matter and all of that stuff. I want to say that is content, but these are our stories as Zimbabwean people that the world doesn't know of, you know. We are crying out to SADC and whosoever to come and intervene in these issues, but the world doesn't know that story or these stories that are being lived by the youth now, you and me, you know? Like, I want to do that stuff, document it. Like, let's talk about our challenges. Let's talk about our stress. Let's talk about, it's not even, you know, being a Zimbabwean child, it's not even about black tax. The situation of the country forces you into that. I know that with when I get paid, my first thought goes to my parents. I need to send this money home. I don't even think of buying myself something nice. But that is all as a result. It's not even black tax. It's the situation that it affects all of us different. These are our stories. So, man, I have a heart for filmmaking. I did, again, I'm actually studying. I'm in a film school in Joburg. And it's quite expensive, but all worth it.
Catching.
All worth it. All worth it.
So,
We must...
you just opened a whole can of worms, by the way.
Yeah.
When the whole Zim thing happened, the Zim Lives Matter thing happened, I remember having an argument with Glen about whether or not celebrities should comment on this issue. And I was arguing with Glen because I was saying, from my perspective, and I'm not defending myself, Glen,
Yeah.
I think it's unfair for people to put that expectation on I'm a celebrity, Ngoba. That's not what you signed up for.
Yeah.
And B, yes, I have a platform to speak on it, but there's a lot more to gain or lose on the table for me to do something that I didn't sign up for in the first place. So now I'm curious to hear your input as someone that a lot of people look up to as a celebrity.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem. When you say as someone that people look up to, as a celebrity, already that is the problem.
Okay.
Address it as a Zimbabwean, because because the minute you say as a celebrity, so many so will pressure you would say I have to. Because also at the same time, listen, this is how I carry myself in this whole Mbo Mahocs thing that I am. The word celebrity just is uncomfortable, man. Hey, anyway.
That's why you're on a platform. Okay.
Such it's a sensitive word. But anyway, it's like I've told myself, Ugutimina, I'm not going to delve into issues that concern politics. I don't talk about politics. But then at the end of the day, these are things that affect us in our daily, know, because you can't also think selfishly of yourself. I mean, as a Kuluma Mbo Mahocs, you have your family to think about, which is why I won't post naked pictures of myself on the internet, because my mom is on Facebook. If she sees that picture, like little things like I don't think of only myself. I have a family to protect, which is why it's unfair to put that pressure on influential people to say you need to talk about this. It has to come from the heart. It needs to come from the heart. It gets to a point, like for me, it's gotten to a point where I'm like, ish, but guys, no, as in, which is why I'm saying because I'm a creative person, I'm a storyteller, that is how I am going to play my part in this thing.
Right.
If I don't speak about it, this is how I'm gonna okay, I'm a singer, I'm gonna write a song and I'm gonna sing.
Right.
Play your part, because at the same time we know the very we live it's a brutal regime. We can't hide, we can't put filters and try and make it it's not rosy kunzima. You speak to people every day and they tell you, yo, boy, it's getting more and more difficult. And I can't separate myself from that situation because my parents are back home. And I feel the pinch when I'm here, because when I'm working, I told you that every cent I need to think of I need to send groceries home. Do you know how painful it is?
And next week, the money that you sent it was not enough. So again.
Man, I have my own passion. Napa, you're trying to be Mbo Mahocs and trying to push your dream, your drive. You want property, like there's things that you want for your life. You want to buy your first car, cash, but you can't do things like that because there's a problem under your feet that needs you to take care of before you can start concentrating on other things. And you can't run away from it. If I let my parents suffer, who's going to look after them? I need to do it. So we need to face it. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about these. Oh man, I'm sounding so frustrated. Like I'm sure you can feed off. It's like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I think you've just laid bare the argument that I had with Mike. First of all, I don't think you're speaking as a celebrity, but you're speaking as a Zimbabwean. And if it does not affect you, if it doesn't move you, it's okay to keep quiet. I mean, to be honest, I feel like it's much better to have people that actually feel the pinch to speak about it. Now, you have said something again after that. You say that you have told yourself that you don't speak about politics. But guess what? Some of the information and content that I've seen on Zimbabwean Lives Matter, I've seen it off your feed. Not because you're politically agitating, but you're speaking to the situation that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like there is a line between saying, don't speak about it, don't be political, to actually just saying, this is the reality happening. You haven't agitated. I've never seen you say to people, go on.
Yeah.
I've never seen you tell people this and that. But I've seen you speak your heart on issues that have to do with us, not even in very passionate ways, but just to show that you are attuned to it. You are a part of it. So that was my point in the argument. But sorry, we're dragging you into that. But
it's okay. No, it's okay, man. It's okay. Like,
it's part of the family now.
Yeah. So another thing that I feel like your humility is really, 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 really on levels that a lot of people will never match up to. And I say this with the utmost sincerity. Let me say why I'm saying this now. I remember when I was asking you, I'm like, Mo, when you feel like you have made it, because you kept telling me, Glenn, it's a struggle. I haven't made it. Glenn, I haven't made it. And you keep even reiterating that now. But there is a thing that you say to me, I don't know if you remember, but you say, when I say, what's the height for you? Where do you want to go to? You're like, Glenn, I will have made it if I can build a school in Zimbabwe. I will have made it if I can start a foundation that helps people. And for me, that's very, and this was not for show. This was not on an interview. This was you and I just talking. And even here, you don't speak about that. But I am aware that you have that kind of a heart. I just want to ask, maybe, where does that kind of philanthropic drive come from? Because that's separate from your creativity, right? And you can tell from even how you speak about your family that to you, your success is not going to be measured by how many blockbuster movies have I been on, even though it matters, or how many shows have I been on, even though it matters. But for you, you want to make an impact, like a tangible impact in people's lives. How does that balance your life now?
I think that actually stems from my mother. Growing up, my mom would pick somebody from the street, and then suddenly they're at home eating our food. And when you're a kid, you're like, it's like, why? And then I never used to understand why my mom would bring funny people at home, and we have to sacrifice to give them our food. Njani, I see la vele already, and then now I need to share my share. And I think it comes from that. And you only start understanding some of these things a little bit. She still does that. Oh my God. Like last week, she made me buy some clothes for some kid. She feels sorry. But it's fine. So it comes from there. I think it's a natural feeling, man. For me, I think I would have made it, or would want my life to be celebrated when I've done something that is going to impact like a whole generation. The way I'm talking about wanting to tell stories that are going to shape and build a society, a future, like something that is leading somewhere. That's how I think and I plan my things. I don't only think about today, like I think futuristically. That's how I think. When I buy things, I want to buy something that is timeless, that's going to live for the next 10, 15 years, and I don't have to buy it. That's how I think naturally. So also in the same way with my work, that's the kind of impact that I want. I'm not fazed by hype. When I post a picture of myself and I get so many likes, or when people stop me and say, can I take a picture? Like, it doesn't move me anymore. When I come out in an article in the newspaper back home, like, it doesn't faze me anymore, because I realize there's so much more that I can give of myself that is more meaningful, that is more than just Instagram and looking pretty and looking dope. And yes, we do that. I mean, it's the time that we live in, but there's so much more, that I want to give and really make like a positive impact. And if there's issues like this, like some lives matter, I can give in my voice and can be heard. Hey, why not? Why not? Unfortunately, we've been brought up in a system where we were always restricted. You're not allowed to talk about certain things, At school, I remember at school when we wrote a composition, and stuff like that. The teacher would mark you down if you wrote anything that was political and it was the truth, Bagumaga 30% because you said this. It's always been the system that is centered that where people are silenced and all of that. And I don't know how I got to this, because we were talking about the humanitarian side.
But that is your humanitarian side coming out there. I just want to highlight for the both of us, for all of us here, that I have a feeling that this interview will end abruptly, because we are all enjoying it and we are left with about. So I'm just telling you guys, so you keep that in mind. We've got 19.
Let's wrap it up.
No, let's not. Like, that's not what I meant. I just thought if you have issues more that you want to say, that you want to bring out on mic, let's just remember that we've got about 19 minutes to go.
Okay.
19.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no. I said my piece over there. I don't know if there's another question.
There's always other questions. This was really awesome. I want to go now to talk money. Zaga cash dollar.
Yes. Oh, I love money. Yeah.
One thing I'm always curious about like when they're inviting you to events, especially in Zim, you are now
Yeah.
working in South Africa. We should
Yeah.
like you want Mandelas, you want Matibas. But now in Zim, they're working with a whole different ball game. Do you now charge them with the US rate?
Do you know what? Let me tell you a little story, a quick one, because we have 19 minutes. Hey, so sometimes, because it's pushy passion, and then sometimes people ask you, hey, can you please come and host? And you're like, I will do it because I am passionate. Hey, there's girls waiting. My mom needs food.
Mm-hmm.
So I happened to see a woman's what you call this red card that I follow and admire. Like, she's like, okay, let me tell you who's Bonang.
Queen B.
That girl, that woman works.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I love about her work ethic. It doesn't mean that people that work and do their things. You should see, I actually have my toy board on this, my not a toy board, what do you call it? Vision board. I have my vision board. There's a picture of, you see those toy pom dogs?
Mm-hmm.
That's not my toy pom. Oh, he's in like rich people. It sounds ridiculous or whatever. It's on my vision board because there's a woman in my head that is becoming, that is yet to come, that I imagine every day when I wake up in the morning, and I feel I am that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, as Lali, like I admire hard work. That's the because there's a specific life that I want to live, and I want to work towards that. So I think when I saw this very influential person's rate card, I started taking myself seriously. And then that's when I started drawing up like little things where, hold on, I can't be having people talking to me when I'm actually a very bad PR person. So I have a very good friend of mine who works with me on that, who's been my friend for so many years. Like I got him and respect
and I guess his name. I know him.
Our mutual friend.
Gilmore. Yeah, I can tell.
There's no Mbo Mahocs without Gilmore. That I can tell you. And that's the best person, I think, that represents me. And he understands my vision and where I want to go and what we are doing, and that is very important. It's very difficult to find people like that, because sometimes you find a manager that also wants to be the face, and then there's confusion. Okay, where do you want to be? There's people that understand serving a brand, Yeah.
But
I think with us, I don't know, man, we just strike the right chord. And so that's why it's important where you have to structure the business side, and have someone that represents you. And I got my profile ready, my rate card ready. This is how much I charge for this, for that. And it helps so much, man. You can't, and understanding contracts, the legal jargon of contracts. First, I didn't have somebody that does that for me. I used to have a friend that studies law. If I receive a contract, I'll send it to my friend. What's and because it helps. So many artists are cheated out of deserving royalties or whatever, because you don't understand I like to use the word mathematics. You don't understand the mathematics or the systematic way of doing things, So it's important that you are in tune, man, with emails. Just know what's happening. Save. Hey, Bagiti, save, guys. If you're an artist, money matters.
Especially in this case of COVID.
Save, invest. You don't know when your next gig is gonna come. Save, invest. Angazi, have a funeral policy. Like, do solid things, yes. And also, at the time when I was working at Scandal, my contract ended because the character was supposed to be killed, and I wasn't prepared for that. Because I was so would say, okay, there's a deposit that comes into my account every. I stayed for something like 6 months, and there was no work. And from that day, I learned, see, when something comes up, wait, don't even look at those shoes. Put it in parts, you know, put it in parts, divide it. It's okay, this is going to go to this expense. It's so, so, so important. It's so, so, so important.
You know, always about the relationship. The friend that we have in mutual, Gilmore. And I've known Gilmore for a very long time, and he's always telling me about the works that you guys are doing, you and the other people that he works with. And I realized one thing that and you highlighted that, the one important thing that seemed to resonate for me is when he handles you, he's not handling you about the face. Uba Mumuntu who's now handling Bo, but he also has his own stuff going on. So how important is it for you to work with people who understand the mission, with people who not just want to push you, but also have a vision for themselves?
Yes.
And thinks with your vision. How important is that?
It's so important, man, because like I said, when I sit down, I don't think small. So you need to be surrounded by people that are visionaries. Otherwise, you get lost along the track and you don't get to where you're going. So it's very necessary. It's Gilmore also is. It's funny, I was chatting to him. Oh man, we talk every day. I was chatting to him this morning, and he was just talking about how frustrating the country is. And I said, hey, you smell like France. Hamba. You know, like I said, go to Europe. That's where because he calls himself the global citizen. Underline the word global. You know, he's a visionary. He's a skywalker. That's where his thinking is. If I were to mix and mingle with somebody that doesn't think on the same level, we wouldn't get anywhere. No, we wouldn't get anywhere. Which is why, you know, that quote that says, surround yourself with the dreamers and the wada. That is so important. That is so important. Which also goes down to your friends, little things, because those are the people you talk to every day. And also, this is the person that you talk to every day. So what goes in here is very vital, very vital. So important.
Glenn, now you know why you're my friend.
Yeah?
I didn't know. She broke it down importantly. But yeah, I mean, to be quite fair, I think the other thing that is important in such a relationship is that kind of respect. I've never talked to Gilmore, but from the moment you just said that, I knew from his stories that this is a person who's central to your life. And Mike probably had never talked to you, but Mike knew that Gilmore works with Mbo. So there's that kind of, you know, mutual respect and understanding. And I guess that, like you're saying, these are some of the very little things that make the difference in life.
Yeah.
It's not like having that selfie with Mbo, for example, for me, but it's like, do I have somebody who's got my back and who represents me and understands me like that? And I think that has shaped you like that to that extent. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. Now, this is pretty personal. All of my questions after this are very, very personal. But
sure.
Not to worry. What's your dream for Zimbabwe? If it was up to you to write the Zimbabwean dream, what's your dream for Zimbabwe?
Yo, man. Guys, it's going to take time. Might be difficult because we are facing a very weighty situation. You know, when I say weighty, it's funny when I talk about Zim, suddenly I feel so heavy. But it doesn't mean, but it doesn't mean we won't come out of it. I actually pray for new leaders, new leadership. I feel like we need people that can listen to the people, because right now nobody's listening. The leaders that we have are not listening to the people. It's all about selfish gain. We haven't found somebody that really wants to serve with heart and for the people. Everybody just wants to see where they can milk, and just it's all about them, and it benefits nobody else, you know. So my prayer is for new leaders. I wish there could be like a new opposition party that can just stand boldly, you know, strongly, and represent and serve the people, serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. That's who matters. Because right now, nobody is listening, and it's been like that forever. So we really need change. We need healing. there's issues like Kukura Hundi that really need to be addressed. Like I said, Uguti, as much as sometimes life may seem to be going on, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as there's a problem, you need to fix that first before you can go forward. Nothing can happen. Nothing can happen until there's healing, which is what that country needs. We need healing so that we can move on. New leaders. And please, Bagiti, somebody that is going to serve the people, whatever it is that they do, that they structure, whatever political structure that they come up with that concern the economy, health, education, and whatever, that it can be for the people.
Then
I almost feel like underlining the word people. People.
it's bold, even.
People. Not
Glenn,
for you. Would say, oh, okay, singing over and sing this kunta. It's not about you. It's about the people.
Glenn, I don't know how we're looking on time. Should we go to the 5 fingers of death?
Sorry?
Before we go to the 5 fingers of death, I'm going to ask another question. So you said you read a lot. You sure that you read a lot? What's been your top 5 books that you can recommend to anybody? Like if somebody comes to you today and say, Mbo, recommend books for me.
Recommend books. Okay. Because I have a hustling spirit, I read Rick Ross' book. It's called, what's it called? Blue cover. It's got his face on. What is it called, Gandhi, that book?
I haven't read that.
It's Rick Ross' memoir. When you read it, it sounds like a movie, but it talks about just the struggles, the challenges that he has gone through to be where he is today. And it bosses up your mentality, man. It bosses you up because he started as came from a nothing background and to who he is today. And it's funny because I'm not like a hip hop person or anything like that, but that is why I love reading, because it takes me to a world that I've never existed in before. And I delve into it and I get to live in there. And so that book, if you have a hustling spirit and what is it called, Gandhi? I almost want to Google it quickly. It's a Rick Ross memoir. I can't believe I'm forgetting.
Who finds it first?
It's Blue Outside.
Continue. I'm Googling it.
All right.
Okay.
So, any other books while he's Googling that? Or that's the one you want to talk about now? I would have thought that Becoming Michelle Obama is one of those because you speak a lot like that.
Oh, yeah. I actually do have that.
It's called Hurricanes.
Sorry?
Called Hurricanes, a memoir.
Hurricanes. Yes. That's the book. I enjoyed reading that book. And oh yes, for Zimbabwean people, there's a book by Sunyati that is called Gold Diggers. It's a story of, I've wished to see that book on screen. It's a book about just the struggles of being a Zimbabwean, like most of us that left home and go to the city of gold to try and seek better opportunities. It's a beautiful book. It's an amazing book. Like if any Zimbabwean would relate to that book, it's called Gold Diggers. Mm-hmm. It's written by Sunyati. And I actually got a new book. It's written by a lady called Gail Mbofu. She's from Bulawayo. It's called Iziga Zegoli, and it's written in Ndebele. I can't wait to read this. I haven't read anything in Venek in a very long time. Huh?
Is that
no, it's not online. It's not online. Yeah, so this is like my next read. See, it's like it's just next to me. That's the one that I'm going to be reading now. I'd love to read Trevor Noah's book. I don't know why I haven't started reading on Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. I think that also would be like a very interesting book because he's somebody that I respect. I respect his thoughts, his ideology, and he's a very intelligent, smart person. It's one of the only reasons why I want to read his book, because it will take me behind his thinking and his drive, you know. And it's also one of the Black people that have managed to penetrate in spaces where it seems impossible. I mean, a boy from South Africa, and he's in New York, you know, things like that. That's the ultimate goal. Some of us say, oh, okay, I'm an actress, I want to be in Hollywood, you know. So it's important. It would be really, really amazing for me to read that book. What else? I read a lot, man. I read a lot. I'm trying to think another one. You can play me music. I can try and remember.
All right, I'm going to take you off the spot, and then we're going to the 5 fingers of death. Now, Mike named that the 5 fingers of death because I have a habit I took from Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Conversations, where towards the end, she just asked these 5 questions to her guests. So I'm going to put you in the seat now. How this works is you have to be quick and fast with it. It's not one of your most philosophical type of questions. I ask, you answer. All right. Are you ready for that?
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah.
What does God mean to you?
Oh my God, everything. Everything. The beginning, the end, everything.
What is your favorite artist? Who is your favorite artist? All time.
My favorite, Brenda Fassie. She was bold, she was fabulous. She said anything that she thinks, like she would give you the middle finger. Brenda Fassie, has to be Brenda Fassie.
Number 3, what's the most embarrassing thing that you've ever done or that has happened to you?
Most embarrassing thing. I think it has to be an article on me that I dated sugar daddies when I was just beginning in my career, and it wasn't true. And I think that really like crushed me. It's nothing that bothers me anymore, but I just I hate it when my I think that's just that. That's the one that I can think of now. I've had so many embarrassing moments, but I get over it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that. Number 4, this is the interesting one. I hope people break the curse, because everybody else who's been here fails on this question or they take so much time. Bonisi, what is love?
Ooh, love is God.
Ooh.
God is love. That's the foundation for me.
Meg, I think she did well with this one. She's the first one who answered. Like,
which is why,
answered like so fluently. I love that.
You have
which is why for me. Which is why for me it's like I'm so sorry. Okay, maybe I shouldn't apologize for my spirituality. Which is why I said when I prayed about my partner, I said, Lord, if he knows you, I know everything else will fall into place. And that's the kind of man that he is. So love is God. That is the foundation. That is the one thing that will never die, that is eternal.
And I'm glad that you're not apologetic about the things that you believe in, because it empowers other people to do the same, isn't it? Final question. I was going to say, I don't know how old you are, but I do. But if you could go back into time, what would you change?
Be fearless more, like don't be scared. I would change me not being so confident with myself, with the person that I am. I mean, you keep referring to me as a celebrity. That is the one thing that I haven't accepted about myself. I think it's about time that I start stepping into it, you know, and owning it and celebrating the little achievements. Doesn't matter how small. To some people, they may be big. I think I would change that. Like, I'll start accepting myself more and appreciating the things that I've done without waiting for the big moment. These little things are the big moments that will lead to eventually something. It's only when you look back where you're like, wait a minute, I've done all this. So I think I need to appreciate myself more and be fearless. Fearless. Yo, imagine how
you're fearless.
You're not afraid.
So anyway, I'm just going to sign off with a statement that you keep on saying this, and other visionaries like Bishop T.D. Jakes and Steve Jobs always keep saying the same thing that you're saying now, that life makes sense looking backwards. If you try and look at life into the future, it may not make sense. It may not even make sense why we're having this interview now, but later on you could be like, oh, that's why I had to do that. It may not make sense why you are in the situation that you are in now. But when you then look at it like 5 years later, you look back and you're like, okay, I didn't like that this happened, but it was preparing me for this. And it's one of my very favorite quotes, because when I grew up, I lost both my parents at a very young age. And a lot of things happened along the way. And I always look back and say, I wouldn't ask for that. I wouldn't ask for that life again. But the fact that up until today, I can run a budget and I can run all of these things. I mean, I had to do that as a kid. And now I'm just doing the same now. It makes sense looking backwards. And this is why all this connecting the dots is a statement, and it's one of my favorite. And I'm just hoping 20 years later, it will still be making sense. When you got the money, when you got the accolades, when you've got that philanthropy thing working for you and everything else that you've asked for, you're really humble, kind, and I wish you all the best. That's me signing out.
I almost just want to hug you on screen. Like, you are such an amazing person, you know? Like, yeah, like you are. And also that's what I sometimes don't like about myself, because I can feed off like energy, doesn't matter where. And also, I mean, both you guys like are so amazing. Maybe we'll need to talk about this like outside the wrap up, yeah, because like I am carrying a lot that I just want to appreciate you with so much. But thank you.
All right, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into Real Talk with the
You are amazing, Wena. You are amazing. Like I can feel your energy. Like you vibrate on a similar energy. I don't know what it is, but there's something amazing about you. Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
much. And you
much.
have a big heart. Like you can almost feel his big heart. I think it also comes with that he's a big guy, so he's got a big heart.
She's talking about you.
Oh, you're talking about me.
She's talking about you.
I was confused. Thank you.
I'm serious. I'm serious. You have a charming energy that like a very friendly, you know, the go-to guy. You know, when
I cry, man.
Can I give you a tissue? Why is that? I don't have them close, but yo, I also totally agree with that. I honestly agree.
Yeah, like he's amazing. And it's weird because you're meeting someone on screen like this. They're not even sitting next to you, but you feel their energy so much, like they're calm. They're just this beautiful, bubbly person. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Okay. I'm not good at blushing.
We must stay in touch outside of this, yeah? You, Glen, and myself, and not be strangers.
I can go with it now, my new friend.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna caution you and say that.
Yeah.
Glen, I know for
Glen is a scholar. He's a scholar.
You guys.
You know, in Zim, let me tell you something. In Zim, right now, people need an opposition that can lead and stand and represent the people. I don't know what it is with us young people that we don't want to, that we don't have the courage to stand up and speak. It's people like Glen that are sitting on those things. He's that type. Siyambona ama-shirts akhe. The shirt that he's wearing, like those Mandela political type of people, like shirts.
I'll tell you the backstory to the shirt actually, but thank you.
All right, guys, let's wrap up here. Ladies and gentlemen, you were tuned into Real Talk with the Glen and Mike. Joining us was Mbonisi Mawe Kalebocha. Glen, this I've learned so much. You know, jokes aside, I always speak to a lot of people, and one of the reasons why I said this is my favorite interview, it's not Uti, you know, I didn't enjoy the others because some of them are like my really good friends. Mara Loena, it's because there's a backstory. I've always heard about you, Mara. I've never spoken to you. But Mike waits, there's this person who's hardworking. And when I saw the whole scandal thing, I was like, hey, bro, so she's really out there doing it.
You should thank me for having the guts to go for her. I when she replied, I was so bummed. I sent her a message. I woke up. I'm like, whoa, Mo replied. And I think I actually came to you. I'm like, bro, you won't believe it.
Mike, you won't believe who responded. Grimang.
Wow.
Mo responded, and I laughed. But jokes aside, you're a really awesome person. You're really hardworking, and we all stand to learn a lot from watching your life, from watching your story. And to be quite honest, I can't say this enough. God bless you. Keep working hard. Keep being an inspiration. Later on now, we're going to keep watching. Glenn, we got to bring one more time. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Real Talk with Glen and Mike. Joining us was Bonisi. I go by the name of Mike Mhoroi. Waking up and get the money, man.